Hey everyone, I hope and pray that everyone is doing well today. It has been another week of spring break, and I know a lot of us are just kind of feeling it. I was the past few days. My husband was working really hard getting some of his online material prepped and figured out for his students. He's had a few teachers call him asking for help, and it's just kind of been a back and forth of getting things figured out. It's been interesting to see the behind the scenes of what some of our teachers are going through. That's what I'm privy to. I'm sure a lot of you are seeing things on the other side, whether you have family members in municipal roles, people actually making decisions about what the city needs to do, about what your city, town, county needs to do. Some of you definitely have insights to what medical professionals are going through all over the country. It's crazy. So in Brown County, we just got our second confirmed case of COVID-19. This person did not travel internationally. The first person did, so that was pretty evident of how that came about. But the second person did not travel internationally, and we don't quite know if this is a community spread or what the case may be. So we're kind of waiting for that. I know so many others are far past this stage, but that's where we are right now. So for a lot of my friends, moms, dads, even grandparents that are taking care of their grandkids, are still kind of just figuring this thing out. And I have a few videos that I made a while back, some freezer meals for family dinners and freezer meals for, say, individual lunches, things on the go. So I thought I would sit and go through those, and I'm going to voice over most of it because this was early on in my YouTube career, so everything is very fast and quick and not a lot of detail. It's just very straightforward. So I'm going to get busy with that and share how I prep for my family, and I hope that you can take a few things away from it, and this will make your days a little bit easier, whether you're still going to work, whether you're home with your kiddos, whether you are just hustling and bustling through so much that needs to get done right now to help our communities and our family and our friends. So I hope you enjoy this, and I hope that it is beneficial to you. All right, everyone, here we are for freezer meals for your family. I am starting a barbecue pulled pork meal. This is so simple. It's a wonderful thing to have on hand. I started with a pork loin, but obviously you can do chicken, you can do a roast, anything you like, any meat. And I'm just going with my traditional seasonings of salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and parsley. This, of course, please use your favorite barbecue sauce. Not a whole lot of sauce here. About a cup, maybe a cup and a half. The meat itself will produce its own juices and cook on low for about 8 hours. Really easy. I love it. In fact, we had that for dinner last night. So here, another very simple recipe. I'm using ground pork and ground chicken, I believe, to make meatballs. Again, my favorite seasonings: salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder. You can make these spicy. You can make them a little more with Italian seasonings if you like, Cajun, you name it. Also, really simple, straightforward. Mix those meats really well together. and I am making smaller sized meatballs, probably smaller than, you know what, ping pong, probably ping pong size, smaller than a golf ball. But it's up to you for the size that you want. All you need to do is fully cook them before you freeze them. You can bake them, you can do it here in a pan like I'm doing. Just really simple. Just a matter of keeping an eye on them and turning them whenever they need to be turned over. Get a good sear on them, and they freeze so well. I'm doing about a meal's worth of quantity here. I typically do a meatball and spaghetti sauce. Stroganoff also is a great way to do that. Put it in the crock pot, warm it up with teriyaki sauce or barbecue sauce. Right now I'm trying to get the air out of the bags using a little bit of a straw, as you see. Not totally necessary, I just want it to pack really nicely. And now I'm making enchiladas. So I have probably a pound of ground beef, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, my favorites. I'm sure I'll say that 100 times in this video. Just cooking this up here with coriander, cumin, and chili powder. We like ours a little bit spicy, a little bit smoky. And now I am warming up my tortillas. Just a light spray of oil, just getting them warm, not browning them or anything like that. Just getting them a little bit warm so that they're really easy to roll up. If you do not warm them up, they will most likely crack and break. And now we're building them. I build them inside the casserole dish, so that if anything just comes out the sides, it's in the pan with it. Just rolling everything up, a little bit of cheese on the inside. Use any cheese you like, please. Pepper jack, cheddar. I'm probably using cheddar or Colby. This is a can of ranch style beans. It is its own chili sauce. You can use the red chili sauce, the green chili sauce. I'm sure would be delicious. I haven't tried that, but I'm sure it would be. More cheese. All about the cheese. I'm labeling the outside of my foil. Pressing down. Oh, yes, and I forgot. Spray with oil. I'm pressing it down just to take away a little bit of the airspace that's in there. Just pinching it on the sides and putting the lid on. And I believe this is done. Mostly. I probably shred it up about an hour before it's done. Just lets all those sauces get on every surface of the meat. Now bagging it up in family-sized dinner portions. Again, there are only 3 of us. And turns out Gordon doesn't like barbecue sauce, and that's okay. So I'll prepare these for my husband and me. You will be the best judge of how much your family eats and how you need to portion it. Same process here. You want to get as much air out as you can, and I would definitely advise you to freeze these flat. Any sauce or meat that you have, spread it out over that Ziploc and lay it down flat in your freezer so that 1, it is easy to thaw, and 2, it really keeps that space, allows you to store everything really well. Okay, this video is mostly full of recipes that you can freeze for your family or individualize for lunches on the go, dinners on the go. This is my chickpea pasta. It is absolutely delicious, but it's also very adaptable. It allows you to get a protein in with your pasta that maybe typically you wouldn't use, but chickpeas and spaghetti go so good together. Other vegetables that freeze really well is broccoli and green beans. So if you would want to substitute those for the asparagus that I'm using, please do so. Just cook everything up, get your chickpeas in there, or your garbanzo beans, or any white bean really, goes really well with pasta. I'm using spaghetti because it's just one of my favorites. If you wanted to make this a tomato sauce or an Alfredo, that would work really well too. Canned Alfredo actually works pretty well in the freezer. This definitely is one of my favorites. This is a smothered chicken recipe. Just use your cream of chicken, cream of mushroom, whatever you like, a little bit of milk to thin it out, get your chicken in there. You could also use pork chops, pork cutlets. It's not necessary to cover the top like I did here. Everything breaks down, and of course, if you use your crock pot a lot, you know that chicken releases quite a bit of liquid. So it's up to you how you build that. I had mushrooms on hand, so I decided to use them in this recipe. Something that you could add to this to add a green is spinach. I have found that putting spinach in any kind of sauce it works so well. Getting a little bit of rice cooked up in my rice cooker, and I have to say, if you do not have a rice cooker, I would really recommend it. So my rice is done here. And now I'm going to start building the lunches. I use about half a cup to 2/3 cup of rice. I am cooking green beans to go with this meal here. So my chicken is done. So I've pulled it out of the crock pot, just giving it a little chop, nothing too much. Putting in the green beans and the chicken. This probably came out to about 3 ounces of meat per meal. Maybe a cup and a half of vegetables. Now I'm just putting the sauce over. These freeze so beautifully, and they keep beautifully too. In fact, I pulled one out of the freezer maybe 3 weeks ago, and I'm telling you, it had been in there for a year. So here's the chickpea pasta and the smothered chicken meals ready to go, ready to freeze, and don't forget fresh veggies for a snack. And your hard-boiled eggs. So here I'm starting something very, very simple that our family loves, and I think everybody loves: pasta and meat sauce. In this recipe, I do not add any veggies, but this is definitely a place where you could get some veggies in. If you don't have anything that you want to prep quickly at the time of that meal. Typically I like to put in mushrooms and spinach, and sometimes I'll put in bell peppers, zucchini, and other dark green squashes are excellent to use in a pasta and meat sauce recipe. So just getting my ground beef all seasoned up and cooked up. All right, now that it's finished up, I am starting some pasta over here in my water. And I'm sure in just a minute I will add a jar of spaghetti sauce and tomato sauce. Use whatever you like here. If you want to build your sauce from scratch, please do so. Whatever you have on hand, really, or whatever at this moment you can find in the grocery store. Again, these can be frozen as a family dinner if you want to use Ziploc bags, the gallon Ziploc bags to freeze everything, or if you have a larger container casserole dish that you could use. But for us, these are lunches for my husband. So I'm putting I've measured this out before, I'm putting about 4 to 5 ounces of pasta in each container, And then because this is a protein and a sauce, it's about 6, 7, sometimes even 8 ounces of the sauce. But you know, just you can measure it out. You know what a good serving looks like. These freeze wonderfully again. And for us, this right here has been just, we haven't used it lately, but for a while we had this every week. I build a giant sandwich, and if we're super busy on a night or if we want a quick lunch, we take the whole loaf out, cut a chunk off, and we're good to go. So I'm making a huge sub. And I have 3 different kinds of meat. I use roast beef, black forest ham, and a rotisserie chicken that is really tasty. So whatever you like here, this is where you put whatever you want. Whatever you have on hand or whatever you can find in the grocery store at the moment. And again, after you're done building this, you don't really have to cut it up. You can if you like, and go ahead and put it in serving size containers, or like I do, you can just put the whole thing. I do cut it in half so that it's easy to get out of the bag. But when it's time, and look at that cross cut, that looks so good. I typically put it right back in the bag that it came in. Okay, here I am starting a chicken teriyaki. I have chicken thighs, but of course you can use chicken breasts, or one thing I used recently was steak. I'm putting that in the crock pot along with the veggies. I have an onion here I'm slicing up. And then I'm just using up this last bottle of teriyaki sauce. It's not necessary to have more than 1 jar, but I wanted to use it up, and I think, yes, I used the whole jar in the next one. My favorite teriyaki sauce, though, is from Aldi. It is absolutely delicious, but the Kikkoman is also very good. That needs to cook for 7 hours on low, and in the last hour I add green beans. You can add a huge variety of veggies here. Your bell peppers, broccoli, carrots, anything you want in your teriyaki. So I'm starting the rice for the teriyaki as well. Again, if you don't have a rice cooker, I highly recommend it. 30 minutes later, I pull the green beans out. If you leave them too long, well, I don't know if you can leave them too long. I haven't left them too long, I guess. But I pull them at 30 minutes just to, really just to keep them from getting overcooked and soggy. I don't want them too soggy. I still want them a little bit crisp. So divvying out the rice for the teriyaki meals. Now I'm pulling the chicken, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did with my creamy chicken. Just give it a little bit of a chop. Not too much, because of course, you know, it'll break up because it's been in the crock pot and it's become very tender. And we all know that chicken thighs are tender as they are. Building these meals, again, this can be for a family dinner, or these can be quick lunches for you and your family. So now I am starting the jambalaya. I began with chopping up some bacon here, letting that render down in a large pot. And now I am getting the sausage cut up into bite-sized pieces. This is a beef sausage that I believe I got from Berkshire's, but again, use any sausage you like. Boudin, kielbasa, you know, this. Use whatever you like here. Putting it in with the bacon and letting it brown up some. Now I'm adding in rice dry. Do not put cooked rice in here. You want it to sort of brown up in the fats that were rendered from the sausage and bacon. You want a slight toast, nothing for too long, just it adds a good little bit of flavor if you can toast up that rice some. And it looks like I've added the bell peppers already. I can't really tell, but I'm seeing something green in there. Maybe I added spinach. Also a good place to add spinach. As you can see here, the bell peppers are going in. I have left them large. I love the flavor, but at the moment, bell peppers are still something that cause indigestion for me, and my husband doesn't typically like to eat them. But we like the flavor. So as you can see on the side, I opened 2 cans of tomatoes. They were diced tomatoes, but I wanted more liquid, so I blended them up and made them into a puree, and I added the 2 cans of tomato sauce and then 2 cans of water, and I added a ton of parsley and a ton of garlic powder. I added Old Bay seasoning, that's what that was. I added a Creole seasoning. Now I've added my beans, which I drained and rinsed, and I let that cook until the rice was done. You may, toward the end of this cooking process, need to add a little bit more liquid. Just be the judge of that. Taste the rice toward the end of the cooking time when your liquid starts to cook off. I really hope some of those recipes were beneficial for your family. I will probably have another video coming out of freezer meals because we're going to do some of those here in a little while. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment below and ask me. I'll be more than glad to answer any questions. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more of these during this quarantine time. God bless, and my prayers are with everybody in this whole world. Stay safe and enjoy your family right now, and look for those opportunities to spend time with your friends and family. And I hope that you all stay well.